RPGs, especially turn-based RPGs, are usually quite addictive and draw us in because of how different they are from other genres of games. Dragon Quest VIII was the game that made me fall in love with turn-based RPGs. My dad had those blue CDs that came with the PS2 magazines back in the days. They had a lot of demos and one of them was Dragon Quest VIII. Well, until the CD stopped working. My PS2 wasn't the best either, since I had dropped it on the floor a lot of times when I was a kid. Anyway, just more than 10 years later, I bought the full version and played it. To this day, I still have it and cherish it dearly. But when the RPGs is turn-based, but it's not, even without doing anything in terms of combat, this game took me over 20 hours to complete. Ladies and gentlemen, Legends of Dragaea. Dragaea? Yeah, I think it is Dragaea. Legends of Dragaea is a dungeon crawler that starts with the possibility of creating our character with different races, colors and faces. I chose this cool bird and this is what came out. One thing I found interesting is that we can change the game's difficulty in detail with several different statics that can make the game super easy or just fucking unfair. Well, as the game says, go nuts. Whatever that means. This is the most important area of the game, the markets and the village. Initially we can't build almost anything because we need materials and money, and our drugged eagle over here with red eyes is broke just like me. Throughout the game we obtain the necessary materials and can build various areas such as the weapon store, which I don't think I need to give any explanation. We have the item store, okay. Armor store. Okay, let's move on to the ones that really matter. The only area in the market that really matters is the material store, which I'll explain later. The city is where we really focus on creating the characters and making them stronger. We have a lot of places that we can use to get better. Okay, so in the town you have 5 houses, let's put it that way, that have different things for you to do. On the guild house you can see your party, the statistics, change the abilities and the perks. Obviously you don't start with all of this, you have to power up your houses, on this example the guild house, and you will unlock these things. Next it's the storage. The storage, you can see your items, sell them, manage them, everything related to what you catch on the dungeons. Then you have the tavern. The tavern is when you can hire other characters or other members to your party. You can gamble as well, but I've never been a fan of this, so I pretty much didn't use, so I cannot say if it's good or bad. It's not the best thing to focus on other party members since you already have yours. It depends a lot. It's just in case that you want to change your whole team or you think someone is really weak. I really didn't use pretty much the tavern. I didn't hire, what I started with is what I focused on, but of course that goes from player to player. The workshop. Now this is a place that it's actually good, not like other places, you fat fuck. Anyways, on the workshop, every item that you have equipped, weapons, armor, it's really one of the best parts of the game because here is where everything will shine. You can power up the grades, the damage, everything. This is a really good place that you have to level up until level 5. It's really worth it. The guilds is an interesting place because here you can power up your guild rank. At first it serves only to have some money. You accept the quests, you level up and on. But when you level up the guild, you will unlock this place where you can actually use the points that you have on the guild rank. You win some points anytime you level up your rank, and you can use those points to level up some perks like more damage, more life, more money drop on the dungeons. It's really worth it. It's an amazing place. More than half of this only appears after collecting the right materials and enough money as well. The world map is where we can enter the dungeons and get our asses kicked. Yeah, literally. It's in these dungeons that we collect a lot of things such as experience, resources, money, items, armor and skill improvements. The normal, okay? We start in this dungeon, which only has the probability of dropping certain materials and minerals. So at some point our village will start asking for more advanced minerals and materials. But to move on to the next dungeon with better resources, we have to reach the end of the previous one. Each one is divided into floors, which can have 3 or 4 or even more. With each floor the difficulty increases, and at the end the dungeon boss awaits us, but the probability of winning the first one is low, at least at first, so we will make several visits to each one until we succeed. This is where a super interesting mechanic comes in. Okay, so each dungeon has its own level as well. As we walk and defeat enemies, the level rises through a bar. Each point allows us to improve something in that dungeon, such as the drop rate, the probability of finding certain enemies and enemies overall, the experience gains, and even the probability of entering a special floor with various resources. With these levels we can unlock speed increases that help immensely with loot and grinding, which this game has a lot of. If you like grind, this is the game. Making for super fast dungeon runs with the possibility of placing up to 50 automatic trips in a row in a single dungeon. Keep that information in mind because I will talk about it again in a moment. Okay, so but when we finally defeat the dungeon boss, we unlock a boss mode in addition to the new area. This mode is a little different. Instead of having a team of 3, we have a team of 9 against a much stronger version of the normal dungeon boss, being 5 times stronger or even more. Each dungeon has one of this. My team on the first try was so strong alone that beat it the first guy with like no sweat, but the stronger version fucking defeated the whole 9 of them. So you just can understand how harder this can get. Here exclusive minerals also drop and we need to defeat all the boss stages of each dungeon to finish the game. But before talking about the ending and our goal, let's talk about a little about the entire combat system, since it's all automatic. Despite that, it's not simple at all and is the main point of the game. There are several types of weapons and skills that each character in our party can use. Each weapon and skill has its own level, and to level up we have to use them to gain new skills. For example, the more we use white magic, the more skill we gain. The same goes for the X and other passive skills, such as unlocking chests. The more we try to unlock them, the more our pickpocket level increases, making it easier and more likely for us to disarm traps and open certain chests on the future, successfully of course. Each time we level up a skill, the character level also gets close to improving. We need to improve any skill by 1 level 5 times to level up a party member once. So you have to increase these little abilities to increase 1 level of like our major statistics. No matter how strong we are, armor and weapons are not the only items we have during a dungeon run. Health potions, shields, which are the blue bar next to health, purple potions that restore both, and tools to undo traps and open chests can be dropped or purchased. But these don't work as we normally used to. There is no need to replenish any of this, as everything mentioned automatically returns at the end of each floor of the dungeon we are in. The way to get better potions is exactly the same as for weapons and armor. Some potions, like the rest, have higher rarities that allow us to use them more often with better results. In addition to their rarity being higher and improved, they are exactly the same as any other combat item. I love this very different idea that we treat the potions like weapons. You have small flasks, you have bigger flasks, it's like better weapons and armor, it's really amazing. All of this makes us go from dungeon to dungeon while completing our tavern challenges. Whenever our clan completes challenges, we earn skill points that will improve everything in the game, such as drop probabilities and overall damage increase, everything as I told earlier. But only in the last levels of guild improvement are we given this option. Another thing that is only unlocked later on when improving an area of the village is the perks. When a certain party member reaches a level, it unlocks slots to use perks. To use perks, we must have the required character and weapon or magic level. The higher the character level, the more slots, and the more involved the weapons or magic, the more perks we have. Yeah, it's a bit confusing, but I think you can get it. Okay, so let's run it back a little bit. Remember when I talked about being able to do 50 automatic runs without having to do anything? Yeah, well, that's kind of a problem with the game, in my opinion. It didn't make the game bad, but it kinda ruined it. One day before going to sleep, I set a dungeon to run 50 times automatically. The result was that the next day I woke up with enough money for the rest of the game, absurd character levels and skills. Basically, from that moment on, the game was super easy, and as such, I also ended up unlocking the X8 speeds of that dungeon, which makes everything super easy to grind, which ended up breaking the game a little bit, because from what I've done. You can say that it's my fault, but I'm gonna put the fault on the game as well, because that wasn't possible if they didn't put it. 50 times on a row, it's a lot. Another thing I said I will talk about later was how the only store worth visiting was the material store. Well, since I had so much money, I reached a point where I didn't need to do the dungeon so many times, and in a few minutes I had enough minerals to improve the village, because all I had to do was go to the mineral store, buy everything, enter an X8 dungeon just once, return to the village and buy again the materials that I need to level up, because I had so much money that instead of grinding on the dungeon, I was grinding on the village. I end up finding this little secret in the game that makes a lot easier. It's not exactly a bad point in the game, but it's something that should be improved, because this can make the game really easy. It should be possible to do just one dungeon automatically, like, let's say 5 to 10 times in a row, and the player gets too much money. I mean, I had, even before this, a lot of money. I don't know, they need to cut it back a little, because this is too much money. The only thing I found was that the game ends up being a little repetitive towards the end, and since the game literally does everything by itself in the core part of the game, the dungeons can end up becoming a little monotonous. Still, I found the game super addictive, especially at first, the first hours. The graphics are very good and different, and the vibe they want to convey is right on the spot. Especially the design of the enemies, I mean, almost all of them are incredible. Almost all of them. Almost. What I like most was undoubtedly the final boss, and speaking of which, we then enter the end of the game. After the final dungeon is completed, we unlock the boss version of that dungeon and fight the final boss. It's more difficult than anything else up to this point, yes, but it's exactly the same as everything else in the game. After defeating, a text appears and the end. Yeah, the ending is nothing to write home about it, but this isn't the kind of game that needs a super strong ending, because the best part is the grind until we reach the end and all the organization we have to do. And the game doesn't quite end there. After all this, we get a little extra, a huge 100 story tower that is much more difficult than anything else up to that point. To be honest, I didn't try to get through it. I stopped at the 5th floor because, as I said, I was already a little tired of the gameplay, but it's a little extra that is always welcome and quite challenging from what I saw. So basically, in short, Legends of Dragaea got me hooked and entertained me a lot. There are some points that could be improved, but it was undoubtedly an extremely different experience that, despite us doing nothing during the battle, it kept me playing the game longer than I should have. And even though the whole final extra, the game isn't very long and knows when it should end, they really just have to improve the automatic times that you can do a dungeon, because 50 times it's way too much. I hope they put a little less. I'm going to put it on the good tier behind Demon Turf and on our indie game tier list. If you haven't seen it, I made a reel about my opinion on Demon Turf, but back to what matters. I highly recommend this game. It definitely is a gem, and it came out this month, so its creators are still releasing updates. You really should give it a try. Well, this finished this video. Thank you for your support, which has been incredible. I'm really grateful for how many views we got on Martha. I'm very happy with the boosts in views we had on both the reels on the last video as well. You guys are the best, man, you are the goats. And you know, I'm Lito and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much for this one. I really appreciate all your feedback and see you soon. Bye bye, peace. Hi guys, you already know it's me at the end of the video without script or anything planned, so yeah, I just want to say once again that I really appreciate everything. You guys are the best, man. I'm really happy for what we are creating together. We only have 4 subscribers. I hope that goes up on some time, but yeah, I really appreciate everything and you guys been the best, so peace to everyone and see you soon on the next one. I'm already working on the next one, the next video, so stay tuned. Peace guys.